Jess Shell.
Hey,
How's it going?
Jess.
I know.
Other than my neck issue, great.
Other, other than that, I'm doing.
Physical issues. So,
I
oh,
know we just it's hard, and it's hard to stay positive and happy when we're talking to clients who write, and like the difficult clients, and they come in with like almost demanding us to do like what they want us to do. It's like we're slaves to what they need. So we're just talking today about like those crucial conversations that we need to have with our clients and just keep a clear conversation, and how do we take a bad situation and like smooth it out and turn it into something that
you feel
we
good about.
feel good about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It might not feel good as a whole at the end of the day, but maybe like you can feel better about it, you know?
Right. Like how do we communicate with difficult people?
Yes. I think Jess and I would agree that 98% of our clients are amazing and we love them, or at least
Absolutely.
95%, that that just was such a gift to work with. But you get that little bit of clients who, like we were just talking about before we got on, are
Yeah.
very, it's almost like there's a entitlement, or there's like you said, like a slave. It's like, well, what is this? And maybe we read it as like very, maybe it's just they're very direct people and they don't really have a lot of softness. You and I are much more like soft with our words, and we try to keep everything in a very kind and loving, you know,
Positive.
positive,
Great
uh,
experience. We want to
yeah,
delight our
yeah,
clients. And
communication, and just really, I mean, you and I are super communicators. Once in a while you get a client, very small percentage, that's just, I need this now, and they talk to you like dirt, like, you know what I mean? And you're just like,
right. And
what is
usually that's the first sign of how do I get rid of them? Like,
yeah.
how do I not make this happen? Because
Hmm.
like you get this gut feeling that this isn't going to end well. I'm going to end up working 10 times harder for this client
For low money.
for low money, and I just need to get rid of this. And let me jump back a little bit. I think we have a great amount of amazing clients now because, and I won't speak for you, you can speak for yourself, but like
Yeah,
for me, when I started out, I had a lot of different clients like that. Like there
right.
was a lot of that. And I think like as I have grown and developed my business and like, communicated with, learned how to better communicate with people, learned how to say no, learned how to get out of situations where I know it's going to end up bad. Like that's how we end up with a really good set of
Yeah,
amazing clients, is because we've whittled away at,
those other
nope
clients that don't.
and
And
nope.
yeah. And you nailed it on the head. I'll never forget the same here. Like when I first was starting out more, you were doing more of those, and you had a few
I'll
more of
take
those kind.
anything.
Yeah, not anything, but
I'm
yeah, kind of
learning.
like you were trying so hard to just like over, and I still over deliver, but like you were just
Oh
like
yeah. Oh
really
yeah.
trying not to say no to trying to not say no to anything. And I'll never
Right.
forget, I had this repeat client and we had a bulk discount rate, like it was really low, and it was just like on and on and on. And then I don't know, he just every time I would get an email from him, you said it, you nailed it. It's like I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like
Yeah.
I could feel it in my spirit and my soul. Like I could feel this feeling of like, because I knew he was going to challenge everything and challenge like from a budget perspective.
Right.
And again, he was already so low, but he didn't see it that way. And he was also just very I know at the time it's embarrassing, but he was very intimidating, and he was very kind of like I always felt like he had this, like at the time, this was years ago, I would never do this now,
Sure.
but he had this power over me to like make me feel just like he was a bully,
Little.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed to say it, but like I worked with him for maybe 2 years before and then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? No, I don't, like you said, I built up enough amazing clients that I saw like, oh, what,
You saw what it should be
what it
like. You
should
saw
be. Yeah.
what like could be like with these clients, and
Yeah.
then it's
And
easy to leave.
I mean, I'm so easy to work with, and I'm so kind and so
Oh
good
yeah.
and give so much. So there's no reason anyone should be a bully like that. So I got to a
Right.
point where I basically fired him, and there's power in that. And if I fired him, I said, you know what, you can it's been lovely working with you. Of course, I made my words beautiful and, it's
Right.
been lovely working with you. And I really appreciate all of the time we've had, but I feel like maybe we're not in alignment anymore. And, and I gave him some resources even to go find,
Oh, I
cheaper,
love doing
cheaper
that. There's
voiceover.
You can find someone here. I like
Yeah.
not needing specific people
Right.
because
Right. No.
I don't want to give him to some,
No,
specific
no,
people.
no. I
Be
gave him
like,
some sites that he could go to if he wanted really bottom barrel stuff.
right,
And he came back and it was the weirdest shift. He came back and he apologized. He was like, he called me and he was like, Michelle, I'm sorry, whatever. I'm just so stressed, and I was like, and it was like a shift in power. It went from like this to like this, and it was, yeah, I was like, okay, and it's like the walking away when you go to a car dealer and you're like, yeah, I'm not paying that. And you walk away and then they chase you.
right.
Oh, wait, what about blah, blah, blah? Like, I don't
I'm
know.
sure we can make something work. It's like, no, I don't want to talk to your boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's power in
So,
that.
so did you continue working with him for a little bit, or were you still like, I'm done? Like, did he help? Like, because things kind of shifted and transformed, were you able to continue working with him for longer?
Yes, and actually, like, he kinda, like, went away during COVID. His business kind of didn't do so great during COVID, and I was doing really well during COVID. So, again, he was kinda watching anyway, so it ended up being, like, interesting. I've worked with him very little, but, like, maybe once every 6 months or so, like, we were working constantly together, and now once in a while, he'll reach out to me for something, but it's not like a regular person, and
Sure.
his stuff is lower budget, but he thinks it's high budget, so it's
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
But you've been his go-to person. I think it's fascinating, Michelle, that you didn't like cut him off completely.
no,
You softened that relationship and kept that relationship going,
yeah,
but made it more on your terms. Like
right.
I love that we don't have to like get rid of people. I mean, there are some people that are just
There are
toxic. That
definitely some that
just
you're
have
like, "You
to,
know what?
like
I'm good." Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
have to do that. But
yeah,
there are times when you can redeem that relationship, right? And
mhm,
like
yeah,
and maybe
I mean,
transform it into something beautiful.
I think there's a mutual respect between us now, which I never felt before. I just felt bullied, and again, I don't say I wasn't weak. I've never been weak, but I was definitely more like in that range of like, okay, whatever you need, like, and now I'm more like, I give so much. You need to respect that. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
And I think we learned that at different parts of our businesses, right? Some of us come into our business like that
mm,
and just do well from the beginning because they get that concept. For me, it took a long time to really feel like I had that power to
yeah,
say no. And it's
yes,
okay saying no. Sometimes if I'm really pissed off,
yeah.
I'll, like write what I want to say
Just so you can
and
get it
then
out of
delete
you.
it,
Yeah.
delete it.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, I think this is something I've learned over the years from a communication standpoint is I am like, because I soften everything and because I want to be understood and I want to really communicate, like I am more verbose than I need to be. And so I have learned to take it back a notch. And that's been hard for me because I want them to understand all the nuances and stuff. And like at the end of the day, nobody has time for, I can be a lot. So like I've learned to be much more. I'm still not perfect. I'm still me. There's still
Right.
maybe more words than somebody else, but I'm more direct. I'm more to the point.
Yep.
Somebody was like, 'cause I send, like a collection letter, collection note or whatever, just like, "Hey, just hope you're well, checking in on the status of
Right.
like it's all like whereas he's like, "Why do you do that? You should just be like, you owe this, there'll be a fee if you don't." Like, and I'm like, "That's not me. I can't do that." Like,
You could do that for him.
what? Yeah,
You
well, no,
Next
this
time
is
you could
this
be
is
like,
like another
"Okay."
VO colleague who's like, "Why would you be
Oh,
kind?" And I'm like,
oh,
Because
okay.
that's who I am, like I'm
Right.
not trying to be obnoxious, you know what I mean? And it only if it gets to the point where it's like, okay, we are like 6 months behind and you are not paying your bill. Like I've only had like two people like that where I've had to almost get to the
Yeah.
point of like where, like you said, where you were just beyond anger. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
There,
most
um, so what do you say? Like, what are some phrases that you use? Like when someone's late on a payment and you're like, hey, you need to pay this. Like, what would you say in your email?
my email is always just like, hi, hope you're well, just checking on the status of this. I show it's, 30 days, 60 days past due, or it's at the 60-day mark, which is, when I check in on it. Please let me know the status. And if you have any questions or problems, please just communicate that to me and we'll figure it out, kind of thing. Like I'm super nice. I'm just like, hey,
Yeah.
and most of the time they're like, oh my God, let me check on this. And,
Oh, right, yeah.
yeah, but once in a
That's
while
great.
you get ghosted and they never write you back. Those are the few, and those are the
Yep.
ones that like it just because of who I am, they eat at my heart. Like, just
Mhm.
tell me what's going on, right? We've all talked about
Right,
that, right?
uh-huh.
Just
Yeah,
say,
I've had a couple people ghost me, but it's, like, we were going over my bookkeeper was going over stuff. She's like, "What about this in, like, even, like, 2021? Like, what happened with this?" And I was like, "You know what? They just stopped paying. I'm not working with them anymore." And I believe in forgetting debts and forgiveness, and so, like, there's certain ones that I'm like, "I'm done."
it's
Like,
not worth right, right. Yeah,
I don't wanna harbor that, like, I don't wanna keep that on my ledger. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
Now, granted, they were, like, little things here
Smaller.
and there,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, you just can't hold that again, you just have to
Right.
move on at some
Right.
point.
I had someone last year that was like one of those 2 that ghosted, and he was using the video. It was on his website. And
Oh, right.
and it was killing me. Like you said, it was taking up
Yeah,
so much space in my brain and like taking up, I talked to my husband after work about it, and he was
yeah,
researching the guy. I was researching. My brother like wrote him an email. It was like crazy. That was
and
like,
nothing?
and it took about 6 months. He finally paid it, but it was, like, one of those things that I was at the point where it was like you said, it was eating away at my well-being because I was
Right.
so mad at this situation, like,
Yeah,
how dare you
like, it's
use
not fair.
it's right, I have a fairness fallacy, like, they call it, like, an irrational thing is to believe that things should be fair, and I'm like, "But I do!
I
I so want things to be fair, and that's just
There
not
will
how
be
life
justice.
yeah,
Yeah.
not how life
No,
works,
and I
so,
get that. We absolutely need that too. We need justice because our people need to be held accountable,
yeah.
right?
Right, but at the end of the day, like you said, you gotta find the balance of where it's worth, and I've had a few of those where you're just
Right.
like, "You know what? This is not worth
Not worth my
my"
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
basically, it's about, like, appreciating really being grateful for the clients that are just so amazing that we have, which is most of them, I would say, like I said, 98
Right.
percent and
That's why we're
then
still here
right.
because of amazing,
Because it's a
amazing.
gift to work with these people. And then
Yeah.
those few, that 2% or whatever, or small percentage that is not, it's like you kind of get to a point where you're like, yeah, I don't need that anymore. You get to a point in your career where
Yeah.
you don't need that and you can let
Yeah.
those go and know your worth and know you don't need to keep those people, right?
Right. And I think too, like the people we work with who are amazing, I know that they have clients that they work with who they're not getting paid on their end of
Right,
things,
right,
right?
right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love that approach of, hey, hope you're well. Always start with them in mind
Positive.
and their well-being in mind. And then just, mentioned being straight up about your business. You're running a business,
Hmm.
you're not running a charity,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
just,
But
hey,
but
just follow
offering
me
that
in the
kindness
invoice.
and
Please let me know if you have any questions. Like, I'm here to
right.
help.
Right, exactly, and that's how you start it. And then,
That's how you
then
start it. And you're like,
and
I'd love to help. Let me know if you have any questions. I always end my stuff with, have a beautiful day.
that's on your signature, I think.
On my little signature.
Yeah,
Have a
yeah.
beautiful.
Mine has gratitude changes everything,
Yes, I love that.
which
Yeah.
is my little saying. But yeah, so communication, huge, being direct but kind, and knowing that, knowing your worth and getting to a point where you can not work with those people, and hopefully they will just phase out of your existence. Let someone else work with them. I don't need that in my life, right? And because you feel it. Anytime I have those situations,
Gut
you feel
feeling.
devalued, you feel like they don't, yeah, they don't respect you. Like you said, like a bully or like someone that's just demanding. You can feel like it's literally a feeling I get in my gut and my heart. Like I feel like, and it, like that feeling. So I don't want
And
that feeling as much
and a
as
lot of
possible.
times it'll be like, they'll write a lot of information asking about something, and you write a lot of information back, and you ask them some questions, and all they write back is, like, they only answer, like, one little thing, and it's
Yeah,
like
they
this
don't
tiny And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
um, I asked so many more things. Like, I can't move forward with this until I know, like,
Oh,
you
the
using
old, "I'm gonna only answer one of your 6 questions." I love that.
it. Yes. And then you write back, you're like, "Hey," and then, they just I don't know. So
Yeah,
I'm so thankful for people who know how to communicate very well
yes. So,
and that we get to work
either
with them.
way, we need to communicate as best we
Yes, we
can,
need
and
to return the kindness.
yeah, and know our audience, and, like, if you have someone really direct, try to be as succinct and direct to them because they obviously like,
Right, that's what they
learning their
value.
style. Yeah. So, learning their style and trying to
Yes,
adjust to that as well. So,
I love that. That's huge in communication,
mhm,
matching their style.
good
All right,
job.
well, I hope it was helpful. I know we all deal with this, so it's just good to communicate and talk about how we deal with it and what
Yep,
specifically we say and how we
yeah.
smooth off the
Smooth
edges.
out the edges. Know your worth. Thanks
Know
for
your worth.
watching. Bye.
Bye.